Hello and welcome. This is season 3 of Two Sides to the Coin. I am Afrida Rahman Ali. Today I take up the issue of the Augusta Westland scam, and this is one of those things that keep coming up in news. It makes headlines and then it goes off the headlines, and it's extremely difficult to keep track of what has happened. So let's talk about it and then the two sides. So first, what happened? In the year 2010, in the month of February, India inked a defense deal with Augusta Westland, which is a UK-based company with a parent company called Finmeccanica based in Italy. The deal was for 12 VVIP helicopters for 3,600 crore rupees. That deal was signed and approved. However, in the year 2013, the owner of Finmeccanica, as well as the CEO of Augusta Westland, Joseph Orsi and Bruno Spagnolini, got arrested in Italy. They were later convicted for paying bribes to seal this defense deal. So the allegation against them is that they have adopted fraudulent means to clinch this defense deal with India. Of course, that news sent shockwaves across India, because now the bribe givers have been arrested, they've been convicted. The question arose, who are the bribe takers? What do we know about who the bribe takers are? Based on the documents presented in court, the names of top leadership of the UPA government came up. The UPA was in power in those years. The names of Sonia Gandhi, Ahmed Patel, senior officials of the Defense Ministry, also Veerappa Moily. Several of these names came up in those documents. These were names taken in court. Apparently, the pictures of all these leaders were shown to one of the middlemen who was given the responsibility to clinch the deal in India. Pictures of these leaders were shown, and Guido Haschke, who happens to be one of the middlemen, actually recognized all of these people. Based on the entire proceedings of the court, finally, these two individuals who were primarily responsible for clinching the defense deal were convicted. Remember, there were 3 bidders to begin with, and Augusta Westland initially did not even qualify to bid for this particular contract, for this requirement of helicopters. However, there were changes made in the very specification so that you could facilitate Augusta Westland to make the bid, and finally the contract was given to them. So all these details were in fact brought out in Parliament, talking about how the specifications were changed by under the influence of certain leaders in the UPA government to make sure that Augusta Westland gets the deal. Now remember here, SP Tyagi, who was the Indian Air Force chief during those years, have been arrested, and he is now facing investigation by the CBI and the ED. But none of the political leaders whose names came up have been detained or questioned. So the BJP argues that there were taped conversations, there were documents produced in the Italian court based on which the convictions of Bruno Spagnolini and Joseph Orsi were made, and therefore it is a proven case of bribery. And that all the contacts that these 3 middlemen have established with the political leadership is something that is already out in the political domain. It is only now about tracing the money trail. The UPA, in its defense, talk about the fact that the money trail has not been established to the leaders that I just named as the names that came up in the Italian court. That is their primary argument. Second argument is that the UPA talks about the fact that yes, this was a deal that was signed in our regime, but this was also a contract which was put on hold by us and cancelled by us. They claim credit for the fact that, remember, in the defense procurement policy, an integrity clause was put in. Based on that integrity clause, the deal, it was possible to cancel the deal in the first place and recover the money. So the UPA claims, well, sure, we signed the deal, but we were the ones to cancel it. We were the ones to have put that integrity clause, and we also recovered the advance. So how are we guilty? The third point of argument that the UPA cites in its defense is a recent statement that has come from Christian Michel. Now remember, there were three middlemen involved: Christian Michel, Guido Hashke and Carlo Geruza. These three people were entrusted with different responsibilities in clinching the deal. Apparently, Christian Michel was the person responsible to contact the top leadership in the UPA. And therefore, his testimony, his phone conversations are critical evidence in this entire case. Now, Christian Michel, in a very recent statement while he was in custody in Dubai, said that he was put under pressure to take the name of Sonia Gandhi. Now, that particular news, of course, was lapped up by the UPA and the Congress, who, of course, now comes up with this defense that, look, Michel was put under pressure, there was deliberate agenda to malign us. Those are the arguments from both sides, but where do you stand on this? What do you think? Do write in to me. I'll be waiting to hear from you.